Yo, what's up guys, King Sean here, and in today's video, I'm back at y'all with another Mock Draft Monday, bringing y'all my second mock draft of the offseason for the Washington Commanders. This will be another non-trade back mock draft. I'll have a trade back mock draft at some point this offseason, but I feel like the likelihood of us trading back is kind of low right now, so I'll be sticking with the 6 picks we have right now and making those picks. In this mock draft, I was taking an edge rusher, a receiver, and more, and we'll go down each and every pick, break down each pick, and why I feel like the picks are good fits for the Commanders. Before we get into today's video, though, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe if you're not already subbed up to the channel, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. All right, round 1, pick number 7 overall. I have a selecting safety out of Ohio State, Caleb Downs, the do-it-all safety for the Buckeyes. This guy is so good. In my first mock draft, I had a selecting David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech, and there's a chance we do select David Bailey at number 7. We have a need at edge rusher, obviously. Well, we have a need at every position on defense, so it really doesn't matter what position we go with, but edge rusher to me is the biggest need, with us only having 2 edge rushers under contract, and both those guys are coming off of season-ending injuries. We desperately need an edge rusher, but we also desperately need a safety. And nowadays in the NFL, teams want that safety who can do it all on the football field, line up everywhere on the defense, at safety, strong safety, free safety, right? That deep free safety, in the box, blitzing. They want them to do it all. Seahawks have Nicky Manwari who can do that. The Ravens have Kyle Hamilton. And Caleb Downs is another guy who can do it all as a safety. He is so versatile. He's really good in run support. He has great instincts and burst, and is really good in coverage. There are not a lot of weaknesses to Caleb Downs' game. He is a very natural safety who has balled out at Ohio State over the past 2 years. Now, some of his weaknesses, he doesn't have amazing arm length. I don't think that should affect him too much in the NFL. Maybe going up against bigger guys and like man coverage, maybe a tight ends, that could affect him a little bit. But I think he's already pretty solid in coverage right now, so don't think he should have too much of a problem with his arm length. He could improve his wrap-up technique, although he's a very willing tackler and run defender. At times he does miss his tackles, so that's definitely something he could get better at. And also at times his eyes can get stuck in the backfield for a little too long. So those are just some areas of improvement for Caleb Downs. But overall, man, he's so good as a safety, as a pure football player, to be honest with you. 6 foot, 205 pounds, so really nice frame. It's just the arms that may be a concern. But to me, Caleb Downs is a top 5 prospect in this entire draft. And, with safeties, teams don't really value taking safeties so high in the draft, so there's a chance he might fall out of the top 10. I don't think so. I think he will go in the top 10 because, again, the safety nowadays in the NFL, you want a guy who can play everywhere, all over the field on defense, and Caleb Downs can do that exactly. So, man, I would love it if we selected Caleb Downs at number 7 overall. There really aren't a lot of ways we can mess up the 7th overall pick. I'll talk about that more and more as we get closer to the draft, but, man, Caleb Downs, adding him to this defense, I feel like Durante Jones would do such a great job of utilizing him on the defense, and he would be a great pick for us at number 7 overall. Next up, round 3, pick 71. Remember, we don't have a 2nd round pick or a 4th round pick because we traded those 2 picks last year as a part of the Lermy Tunsil trade. But round 3, pick 71, I have a selecting edge rusher out of Illinois, Gabe Jacas. That's how you pronounce his last name. The J is silent. But Gabe Jacas, man, I'm a big fan of this dude. I finished watching edge rushers last week. And Gabe Jacas, man, he is a phenomenal edge rusher. I have a 2nd round grade on him. So by that, you would probably say, how do you have us getting him in the 3rd round then? There's a chance maybe, some teams don't love him, and that may push him down, and they may like other players more than him, so that also may push him down some draft boards, right? And he could end up falling to our pick in the 3rd round, and we have an early 3rd round pick, right? So, we may have the opportunity to select him, and if we did, I would absolutely love it because Gabe Jacas is so good. Obviously, like I've already stated, we have a big need at the edge rush position, with there only being 2 edge rushers under contract right now, and I feel like we're going to have to sign an edge rusher, maybe multiple, and draft an edge rusher. And in the 3rd round, getting an edge rusher like Gabe Jacas would be amazing. He's 6'3", 270 pounds, so he has a really good frame. He had high production in Illinois, spent all 4 years in college at Illinois, put up 27 sacks over 4 years, including 11 in 2025 and 8 in 2024, so really, really good production. He has the versatility to line up on the inside and rush off the edge, so you like to have that versatility, and Gabe Jacas has that. He is really good at converting speed to power. You kind of saw that at the Senior Bowl as well with some clips I saw online of him in one-on-one drills. He did a really good job of working against tackles, converting his speed to power. And then he also sets a very strong edge in the run game. So there's a lot to like about Gabe Jacas. Now, some areas of improvement. He does not have the quickest first step, although I don't think his first step is bad. I think it's quicker than some other edge rushers I've evaluated, but it's not the quickest in the class. He's sometimes too reliant on his power, so I would like to see him, use other moves. And he does have a variety of pass rush moves, I feel like. He doesn't have a shortage of pass rush moves. He just is too reliant on his power sometimes. Tries to win with that too much. So I would like to see him, use his other moves more. And also I feel like he needs to be more disciplined as a run defender. Sometimes he does not follow his gap assignments, so he needs to be more disciplined in that. But overall, man, Gabe Jacas to me is a very, very solid edge rusher prospect in the 3rd round. I would love it if we selected him if he was available at the time. Next up, round 5, pick 155. I was selecting Oregon linebacker Bryce Boettcher. And this guy is that pure Mike linebacker that we could be looking for this offseason. I mean, Bobby Wagner, I guess there's a chance he's back, but I don't think he will be back. And I feel like we'll have to find a replacement for him. Frankie Louvu, he's cool, but I don't think he's a Mike. Jordan McGee, he showed flashes like last year, and I mean, he could potentially be a Bobby Wagner replacement. He could potentially be our Mike linebacker, but I see him more as a weak side linebacker, not a pure Mike, right? So I feel like we'll be, looking for a new signal caller on the defense, a new quarterback of the defense. And, Bryce Boettcher is a guy who was basically that for Oregon, had high production at Oregon over the past 2 years, really. In this past season, in 2025, had 136 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. He also had 5 passes defended. This guy is really, really good. Some of his strengths include he possesses really good athleticism, which, we look for in a linebacker. Our linebackers are just not that athletic. We have Kim Medrano, but he didn't play at all last year. Jordan McGee, he's pretty athletic. Frankie Louvu, he is more so a guy who plays with his hair on fire rather than a guy who's actually super athletic. And then Bobby Wagner, at his old age, he really has no athleticism left, right? Which is why we're looking for someone different and an upgrade from Bobby Wagner, right? Boettcher is very instinctive. He does a really good job of tackling and shows really good range, sideline to sideline speed, and has strong coverage skills. So, we're also looking for a linebacker who can cover, right? And Bryce Boettcher would provide that. So he checks the boxes. He has good athleticism, good sideline to sideline speed, and good coverage skills. Now, some of his weaknesses, he doesn't have amazing power and doesn't have that prototypical linebacker frame. Although he's 6'2", 232, which I don't think is bad. I don't think his height is bad, and 232 pounds, standing at 6'2", that's not bad at all, in my opinion. It feels like linebackers in the NFL in general are just getting smaller as they come into the league more and more. So, I'm not that concerned with his size. But he does also struggle with diagnosing run plays, so that's definitely something he needs to improve on for sure. He's not a great run defender right now, so, definitely something he can improve on. And Bobby Wagner himself is a good run defender, so, with your Mike linebacker, you would want that guy to be good at stopping the run, and Bryce Boettcher is not great at that right now, but he has everything else. He has the speed. He's really good in coverage. He can even be used on blitzes at times. So Bryce Boettcher is a guy that I would definitely take a look at if I was the Commanders, a guy that could go day 3 of the draft. He was at the Senior Bowl, and he showed off a little bit at the Senior Bowl, so he's a guy that I could definitely see us targeting at the linebacker position in the draft. Round 6, pick 185. I have selecting receiver out of Cincinnati, Cyrus Allen. On screen here, you see he's in a Texas A&M uniform. That's because before 2025 season, he went to Texas A&M in 2024, And then before that, in 2022 and 2023, he went to Louisiana Tech. So he was at Texas A&M for 1 year and then transferred to Cincinnati for his final year in college, where he put up some pretty good numbers, having 51 catches, 674 yards, and 13 receiving touchdowns. That's an impressive amount of receiving touchdowns on just 51 catches just for 674 yards. Cyrus Allen is a guy who really had a strong Senior Bowl, and his Senior Bowl performance he really showed that off in one-on-one drills at the Senior Bowl. He has a really good release package too, man. I mean, I was so impressed watching clips of him running routes. His releases are so good. He's really good at, faking releases and faking where he's going to go on routes. And he's just so good at route running. Really good at that. And he has good acceleration and top end speed. I expect him to run pretty fast at the NFL Combine. And his speed definitely shows up on tape for sure. Some weaknesses to a game. Obviously, that small frame. He's also a inconsistent contested catcher, which isn't a surprise considering his small catch radius with the small frame. He also struggles with fighting through press man coverage, and that's due to his lack of strength, which is due to his small frame, right? So, his frame does have some limitations. Like, he does have some limitations, and that's due to his size, but, man, everything else about him is so good. This is a guy who's projected to go on day 3 of the draft, and if he's around this round 5, round 6 range, I would definitely pull the trigger and take him because we need to add more to our receiver room, obviously, and adding a young, speedy guy in Cyrus Allen would be a really good add to the receiver room, in my opinion. So this is why I have it selecting with the 185th overall pick in the draft. Next up, round 6, pick 208. So remember, we have 2 6-round picks. I have a selecting defensive tackle out of Texas Tech, Skyler Gill-Howard. He's a very interesting prospect. I feel like we have a need at D tackle despite having currently Johnny Newton, Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw on the roster. We have not gotten a lot of production out of them over the past 2 years, to be honest with you. Obviously, Javon Kinlaw just got here this past season, but we have not seen enough out of those guys, and I just feel like we have to, make some changes or add another D tackle. And through the draft, I could potentially see us adding a guy on day 3, and Skyler Gill-Howard would be my choice. He is a guy who is coming off a season where he got injured, first of all, and that's a concern. He broke his ankle midway through last season and missed the rest of the season, so he unfortunately could not play during Texas Tech's playoff run, which they actually, got first round, and they literally lost in the first round, or I guess the second round since they had a first round bye, but they lost to Oregon, so, their playoff run did not last long. But in the games when Skyler Gill-Howard did play, 6 games for them last year, he was really good. He had 2.5 TFLs, 13 total tackles, 1 interception that went back for a touchdown. That was against Kent State early on this season, and I'll put that in this video. But Gill-Howard was really good, and he was playing alongside Lee Hunter, David Bailey, Romello Height. I mean, Texas Tech's D-line was so good this past season, and early on this season, Skyler Gill-Howard was a part of that. He was at Northern Illinois for 2 years before transferring to Texas Tech. At Northern Illinois in 2024, had 5 sacks, 8 TFLs, 51 combined tackles. He was really good for them. And when you watch his tape, you see the flashes. He has an explosive first step. He does a really good job of consistently beating the guard to the punch. He has excellent gap discipline, and he's able to play multiple techniques. He's able to play that 3-tech, 5-tech, and I guess his size kind of allows him to do that now. He is undersized, you could say, at 6'1", 290 pounds, so he is a little bit undersized for a D tackle, but I feel like he has so many good traits that I don't really care that he's undersized for real. Some other areas of improvement, though, he doesn't have an amazing bull rush, so we may want to get his strength up in order to improve that bull rush. He can also improve his tackling technique, and like I already mentioned, he got injured halfway through last year. He broke his ankle, so those are some of the concerns with Skyler Gill-Howard, but man, this is a guy who, in my opinion, has high upside. And again, we have a need ID tackle to add to that position, and if we decide to add onto it through the draft, Gill-Howard is my choice on day 3. he would definitely be a guy. If I were the Commanders, I would target on day 3 of the draft. And then last up, for our last pick, I have us selecting cornerback Ephesians Prysock out of Washington. This guy is a really intriguing prospect to me. He has a great frame, as you can see on the screen, 6'4", 195 pounds. So that big cornerback build that a lot of teams look for in their cornerback. Great size, great length. He has been in college for 4 years, spent his first 2 years at Arizona in these last 2 seasons, 2024 and 2025 at Washington. He's played in all 13 games for them each of the last 2 years. Not amazing ball production in his career. He's not great at tracking the ball, so he's not the best at producing the ball. However, he does have some pretty good coverage skills. So like I already stated, he has good length and a good frame. He does a nice job of using his hands in press coverage. To me, him playing in press man coverage is his strength. So, that's a good thing. He also has pretty nice movement skills for his size. At the Senior Bowl, he showed off in one-on-one drills, in my opinion. In the clips I saw of him, he was moving very well, matched up against wide receivers who, were as big as him or smaller than him. And he was moving pretty well, in my opinion. So he has pretty solid movement skills for a guy who's 6'4", 195 pounds. He's also a very willing run defender. That's something that really stuck out to me while watching his tape. He will stick his nose in the run defending game, which is really, really good to see. Now, some of his areas of improvement, he does get a bit too grabby at the top of routes, so that's a concern with me. I feel like a lot of cornerbacks with like big size do get sort of grabby at the top of routes. Another cornerback by the name of Davison Igbinosun, cornerback out of Ohio State, he's the same guy who gets really grabby at the top of his routes, right? He's also a prospect in this year's class, so that's a concern there. He also doesn't have the greatest ball tracking ability. I already talked about that. And despite being a very willing run defender, he's not the best tackler. He could improve his wrap-up technique, so that's another thing with Prysock. But this is a guy who has really good size and really good movement skills, really good press coverage skills. So he's a guy in the later rounds, 7th, 6th round. I would definitely take a chance on a guy like this in the draft. Considering we need more cornerback depth as well, we only have 2 under roster, Trey Amos, Mikey Sanders still. Adding a guy like Prysock to be a developmental pick and, seeing if it can turn into someone, a good cornerback in the NFL maybe, definitely a pick I would make in the later rounds of the draft. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below your thoughts on my second mock draft for the Commanders of the offseason. What picks did you like? What picks do you not like? Comment down below your thoughts on that. Also, I want to know right now, who do you see the Commanders taking at number 7 overall? Like, who's your top option that you feel like they will take at number 7 overall? Right now, right? This could change. Obviously, we still have some ways to go until the draft, but, right now, who do you think is the most realistic option to go to the Commanders at number 7 overall? Let me know down in the comment section below. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.